Old-fashioned Christmas is sort of about how we can let the idea of the perfect Christmas get right in the way of the good enough one that's staring you in the face.
Right.
And the way this book happened was I was really working on my third book, which was a book about the marrying years of our adult children, which my friends all seem to be screwing up, the mothers of the Grimms. And I thought this was going to be a hilarious book. And my daughter was engaged at the time, and it was going to end at her wedding. And I figured we'd get up to a bunch of shenanigans. And we did get up to some shenanigans. She called off the wedding and broke up with the boy. So I couldn't finish that book. So I needed a new book. And I had been thinking a lot about how these weddings can mess up a family's Christmas for years. And,
Yeah.
the brides might not know how to throw a good party, but they have just dandy long memories. And a lot of my friends were getting in tiffs with these brides, and I could imagine Christmas being messed up in these families forever. So I didn't have that book to finish, and I decided to do a Christmas book instead and look at how we celebrate and how that colors our family life. They've all been really different. The first one, Mud Season, was more of a construction project in a way because I
Okay.
was doing it in retrospect. And so I was sort of putting together the pieces. I'm a memoirist. We tend to look at all the same questions novelists do, but through a narrow range of just a few characters.
Right.
And so the first one looked at family and business, and I had bought the oldest country store in America and run it promptly straight into the ground. And so it was really about that. The second one was start to finish as it was happening.
Okay.
And so Good Grief was a sort of a very easy kind of in the middle of the journey book, and I loved writing that. The Christmas book was completely different because I had this other book finished and ready to go,
Ah.
except I didn't have an ending because
Right.
Hannah called off the wedding. It turns out you can't say to your daughter, "Honey, could you please marry that man so mommy could finish her book?" You can't say that.
No?
So the Christmas, so the Christmas book, it was February when I had the idea, and so we recreated Christmas at our house last February. This is our second one
Oh.
this year, um, because we decided to do an illustrated. The publisher said, "Why don't you do an illustrated memoir, and we'll just sort of do a pictorial of it
Right.
if you're going to have the food." And so that was a completely different experience, and I wrote it in a much more compacted time.
Okay.
Um, but I had a ball doing it because it was Christmas.